sound of hammers echoed through the quiet Saturday morning. It wasn't construction, just music. My brother and I were building a small wooden deck behind my house, laughing, arguing about whether the planks were straight. The sun was warm, birds were out, and the smell of fresh-cut lumber filled the air. Then I saw her. Karen, pink visor, clipboard, oversized sunglasses, the self-appointed sheriff of our HOA. She stopped at the edge of my driveway, hands on hips, glaring like she'd caught a crime in progress. "Do you mind?" She shouted over the music. "It's barely 9 in the morning. Some of us like to enjoy our weekends without all this racket." I killed the speaker. "Morning, Karen. We're just building a deck. It's a Saturday. I think we're allowed to make a little noise." She huffed, adjusting her visor. "You're in violation of the HOA noise policy. Quiet hours end at 10. It's written right there in the handbook. I suggest you read it." I wiped my hands on my jeans. "Actually, I'm not under your HOA." Her head tilted, like she didn't understand English. "Excuse me? My property line's outside the HOA boundary. The realtor confirmed it when I bought the place. Your rules don't apply here." Her lips pressed together. "We'll see about that," she said, marching away like a soldier returning to base. 10 minutes later, I heard sirens. No, freaking way. A county patrol car pulled up in front of my driveway. The officer stepped out, a middle-aged guy with a calm face and sunglasses. He glanced around, clearly confused by the peaceful suburban scene. "Morning," he said. "Got a noise complaint from this address." I blinked. "You're kidding me." He shook his head slightly. "I wish I was." Someone called in. "Construction noise disturbing the neighborhood. Can I take a quick look?" "Sure thing, officer. We're just building a deck. Nothing crazy." Karen appeared again, pretending to be on her phone but listening closely. The officer looked over the fence, at the wood, at the tools. He smirked. "This is normal. You're good. I'll log it as unfounded." Karen stormed up. "Unfounded? Are you serious? They're violating HOA regulations." The officer turned, polite but firm. "Ma'am, I'm not HOA enforcement. I handle county law. This gentleman's address isn't registered under your HOA district." Karen's jaw dropped. "What? That can't be right. Everyone in this street is part of the association." He pulled out his tablet, scrolled. "Lot 27A outside HOA jurisdiction. Property line ends across the street." She blinked rapidly as if reality just betrayed her. "That's ridiculous. He's adjacent. It's practically part of us." The officer shrugged. "Ma'am, adjacent isn't under. He can build a deck, play music, and hammer nails as long as he's not violating county noise ordinances." He turned to me. "Just keep it between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. You're golden." I grinned. "You got it, officer." The officer tipped his hat and left. Karen stayed frozen for a second, then muttered something like, "This isn't over," and stomped away. Later that afternoon, my neighbor across the street, Bob, wandered over with a beer in hand. "Man," he chuckled, "I saw Karen call the cops on you. Again." "First time," I said, laughing, "but I have a feeling it won't be the last." Bob leaned on the fence. "She's been trying to run this neighborhood like it's her personal kingdom." "Don't take it personally." "Oh, I won't," I said, but deep down I was annoyed. I worked hard for this house. Every nail, every plank, it was mine. And no one, not even a self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, was going to tell me how to live on my property. The next morning, I found a bright orange envelope taped to my door. Notice of violation. Noise complaint. Unauthorized construction. Failure to adhere to HOA guidelines. I laughed out loud. She really went there. I crumpled the paper and tossed it in the trash. By lunchtime, Karen was back, clipboard in hand. "You didn't respond to the notice," she said. "That's because it doesn't apply to me. Everything within this block does. Check the map, Karen." Her voice dropped an octave. "I've been president of this HOA for 6 years. I know every inch of this community. Then you'll know my inch isn't part of it," I said, smiling. Her nostrils flared. "I'll bring this to the board. You'll see." She walked off again, and I could already picture her sending group texts about me. That evening, the group text turned into something worse. I caught whispers and glances when I went to get my mail. The couple down the block looked away. Someone even posted on the neighborhood app. "New guy at 27A making a ton of noise. Doesn't care about HOA rules, typical. I wanted to respond, typical what? But I didn't. I wasn't giving her the satisfaction. Instead, I took photos of my deed, my survey map, my property boundaries, all clearly marked as outside HOA limits. If she wanted a fight, she was going to get one, with facts. That night, I sat on my half-finished deck, drinking a beer under string lights, the smell of cedar in the air. Bob joined me again, chuckling. She's losing it. I heard she's calling a special HOA meeting about you. About me? Yep, she's calling it the noise and nuisance discussion. I couldn't help but laugh. She can discuss all she wants. The law's on my side. Bob raised his bottle. To freedom from HOA tyranny. We clinked. Monday morning hit me like a hammer on wood. My phone buzzed before I'd even had my first sip of coffee. From HOA President Karen S. Subject, mandatory attendance, noise violation hearing. I almost choked laughing. Dear resident, you are required to appear before the HOA. Board on Wednesday at 6 p.m. to discuss multiple noise violations, unapproved construction, and neighborhood disruption. Failure to attend may result in additional fines. I took a deep breath, grinning. She really doesn't get it. I hit reply. Dear Karen, I'm not a member of your HOA. Your jurisdiction does not extend to my property. Kindly update your records before issuing further notices. Matt. 5 minutes later, another ping. Attendance is not optional. I stared at the email for a solid 30 seconds, then muttered, Oh, it's on. Wednesday came fast. I wasn't planning to go until Bob knocked on my door that afternoon. You should show up, he said, leaning against the frame. Not because you owe them anything, but because if you don't, she'll twist the story. He had a point. So that evening, I walked into the neighborhood clubhouse wearing jeans, a flannel, and my best I really don't care expression. The air inside was thick with tension and perfume. About 20 people sat in folding chairs. At the front, Karen, in her usual pastel cardigan, tapping a pen against her clipboard like a judge about to sentence someone. Ah, Mr. Matt, she said, her voice dripping sugar. So glad you could join us. Please take a seat. I'm only here to correct a mistake, I replied. She ignored me and launched into her speech. We've had multiple complaints about loud construction, excessive noise, and disregard for community rules. This behavior violates Section 4B of our charter. I raised my hand. Before you go further, my address is 27A Maple Drive. You can check your own charter map. That's not inside your HOA. A murmur spread through the room. Some neighbors pulled out their phones, whispering. Karen blinked. That's impossible. Everyone on Maple Drive is under the association. Actually, came a voice from the back, he's right. Everyone turned. It was Linda, the HOA treasurer. Older, quieter, known for keeping meticulous records. She held up a binder. Lot 27A is technically county zoned. It was never annexed when the HOA formed. It's in the county's property database, not ours. Karen's smile faltered. That can't be. Linda flipped a page. It is. I checked after you sent the hearing notice. He's exempt from HOA dues and rules. The silence was beautiful. I leaned forward. So if I'm not in your HOA, then this meeting isn't about me, right? Karen stammered. You still live among us. The noise affects members of this community. Linda sighed. Karen, you can't enforce HOA rules on non-members. It's against state law. But Karen wasn't backing down. Then maybe we should petition to include his property. He uses our roads, our street lights? I cut her off. Actually, those roads are maintained by the county. Not your HOA, I already checked. The audience chuckled. Karen's cheeks went bright red. This is ridiculous. You're disrupting our peace. Karen, Bob called from the back. The only thing disturbing the peace is you calling 911 over a hammer. A few neighbors laughed. She slammed her clipboard down. Fine. If the HOA can't do anything, I'll go to the county myself. She stormed out. I half expected her to, announce a citizen's arrest next. The next day, a white county truck pulled up to my house. Out stepped a man in a tan shirt with a badge that read, Code Enforcement, Inspector Morales. He smiled politely. Morning, sir. We got a report about noise and possible construction code violations. Let me guess, I said. From a woman with a clipboard? He chuckled. Something like that? I showed him the deck. He measured, checked permits, and nodded. Everything looks good. You're well within code, but for documentation, I'll take a few photos. Karen appeared from nowhere, arms crossed, watching like a hawk. Officer, she said, he's been disturbing the neighborhood for weeks. You have to make him stop. Morales turned to her calmly. Ma'am, his property is county zoned. He's fully compliant with all noise and building codes. There's no violation here. Karen blinked. That can't be right. You don't understand. He's right next to our HOA. Morales smiled slightly. I understand perfectly. You don't have jurisdiction here. Her face froze in shock. He continued kindly. I suggest you check your association map before reporting future cases. Filing false complaints can be a misuse of county resources. She stammered, I was just trying to maintain standards. He tipped his cap. County property has its own standards, and so far this gentleman meets them all. Then he turned to me and winked. Enjoy your deck, sir. When he left, Karen stood there in silence. Her hands shook. This isn't over, she muttered. I'll find something. I looked her dead in the eye. Karen, you've already found enough trouble for yourself. She didn't respond, just walked away slowly, like a queen retreating from her own castle. That evening, the neighborhood group chat blew up again, but this time, the tone was different. Turns out Matt's house is outside the HOA. Karen was wrong. She actually called the county? Over a deck? This is getting embarrassing. Bob sent me a screenshot with a laughing emoji. I felt a strange mix of victory and pity. Karen was obsessed with control. Maybe too obsessed to see how ridiculous she'd become. Still, I wasn't ready for what came next, because Karen was about to turn the entire neighborhood against me. And this time, it wouldn't be about noise at all. This section delivers the emotional payoff. Neighborhood tension, a satisfying moral lesson, and a natural call to action for your audience, written in clear conversational U.S. English for maximum engagement. 1,500 words. Part 3. The neighborhood divides and the truth comes out. For a few blessed days after the county inspector left, things were quiet. No notes taped to my door, no angry knocks, no shrill voice shouting about community standards. Then, one evening while grilling burgers on my half-finished deck, I noticed the stillness. No kids playing, no lawnmowers humming, no friendly waves. When I glanced toward the street, blinds floody, aired shut. Something was off. Bob wandered over, beer in hand, shaking his head. Buddy, you won't believe this. Karen's been going house to house, telling folks you're trying to sue the HOA. I laughed. Sue them? I can't even join them. Doesn't matter. She said you called the cops on her. Now half the neighborhood thinks you're out to destroy the community. I sighed, flipping a burger. Classic Karen. He took a swig. Don't let her get in your head. People around here like their peace and their gossip. Still, that night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about how fast rumors spread, and how silence often sounds like guilt. 2 mornings later, a folded flyer sat in my mailbox. Community petition. We, the undersigned residents of Maple Drive, demand enforcement of community standards against ongoing disturbances and non-compliant construction. At the bottom, 20 signatures. I stared at it for a long time. My name wasn't mentioned, but it didn't have to be. Everyone knew who it was about. Then came the kicker, scribbled at the bottom in red ink. If he wants to live here, he should follow our rules. I clenched my jaw. It wasn't about noise anymore. It was about control. The county strikes back. That afternoon, a familiar white truck rolled up again. Inspector Morales climbed out holding a clipboard. Afternoon, Matt. Mind if I talk for a minute? Sure, don't tell me Karen called again. He chuckled. She filed a community nuisance report. Technically anonymous, but the handwriting matched last week's complaint. I rolled my eyes. You're kidding. Nope, so I figured I'd close the loop once and for all. He handed me an official letter with the county seal. Property 27A, verification of jurisdiction. This address lies outside Maple Grove HOA and is exempt from HOA governance. Complaints filed under HOA authority are null. Framed it for you, Morales said, grinning. I laughed. I might actually hang this on the deck. Wouldn't blame you. Just know, if she keeps filing false reports, the county can fine her for misuse of resources. That got my attention. Wait, really? Yep, people forget we track caller IDs. I looked down the street. Karen's house sat pretty and polished. a plastic American flag fluttering from her porch like she owned the block. Morales patted my shoulder. Enjoy your weekend. And hey, great work on that deck. Looks solid. Karen's meltdown. Saturday morning, the HOA Facebook group exploded. County siding with the noisemaker? Ridiculous. We can't let outsiders ruin our standards. Who even invited the county? Then came Karen's post. When the system fails, it's up to us to protect the neighborhood. And just like that, people started unfriending her. Comments rolled in, neighbors defending me, calling her out for harassment, some even apologizing privately. By noon, Bob texted, "You might want to step outside." I did, and saw Karen on her front lawn, pacing phone, pressed to her ear, yelling so loud the entire street could hear. "I don't care what the county says. He's part of this community and he will follow our rules." Her husband stood on the porch, arms crossed, looking like he wanted to vanish. A delivery truck rumbled past, the driver honking and waving at me. "Hey man, love the deck." Karen froze mid-sentence, glaring at me like I'd staged it. I gave her a small wave. "Morning, Karen." She hung up without a word, stormed inside, and slammed the door so hard a hanging fern fell from the hook. The HOA meeting, round 2. The following week, the HOA called another emergency meeting. Curiosity got the better of me. Bob and I grabbed folding chairs and walked in. Karen was there, but she looked different, tired, maybe humbled. Beside her sat Linda, the treasurer, and 2 board members who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. Linda cleared her throat. "We're here to address ongoing misunderstandings involving non-member properties and HOA jurisdiction." Karen cut in, her voice brittle. "The misunderstanding is that non-members think they can disrupt the peace." Linda ignored her. "After reviewing county records, we've confirmed that property 27A is not, and has never been, part of Maple Grove HOA. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Linda continued. "Furthermore, the county has warned that continued complaints may result in penalties for misuse of public services." Karen's face turned scarlet. "Are you saying I'm the problem?" Linda sighed. "I'm saying this has gone too far." Someone from the back muttered, "It's about time." Karen slammed her folder shut. "Fine. If nobody here cares about keeping standards, then maybe I'm done caring too." She grabbed her purse and walked out. No applause. No sympathy. Just the echo of her heels fading down the hall. For the first time in months. The neighborhood felt peaceful, not the tense. Fearful silence from before, but real peace. Kids played basketball in driveways again. Bob invited me to his backyard cookout. Even the morning joggers smiled when they passed. A week later, Karen's for sale sign appeared. Rumor was she was moving to another HOA community with stricter enforcement. I wished her well, honestly. Everyone deserves to feel like they belong somewhere. The night she left, I sat on my finished deck, string lights glowing softly. Bob joined me with 2 beers. "You think she'll learn anything?" he asked. I shrugged. "Maybe, or maybe she'll just find another fence to measure." He laughed. "You handled it better than I would have." "I'd have lost my mind weeks ago." I smiled. "There's a point where you realize fighting control freaks isn't worth losing your peace. Sometimes the best revenge is just living your life." A month later, a letter arrived. No return address, just my name. Inside was a single page. "Matt, I didn't mean for things to go that far. I thought I was protecting something, but maybe I was just scared of losing control. You were right, it's your property. You handled it better than I did. Karen." I read it twice, then folded it neatly and tucked it into my desk drawer. Because maybe that was the real win, not proving her wrong, but knowing I hadn't let her turn me bitter. Life in Maple Drive went back to normal. Maybe better than normal. Neighbors started waving again, people talked more, fences didn't feel like walls. And every time I walked past my deck, I remembered what Morales said that day. County property has its own standards. Maybe that's true for people too. We all have our own boundaries, lines that deserve respect. Karen taught me that standing your ground isn't about shouting louder or proving dominance. It's about calm confidence, knowing what's yours and not letting anyone guilt you out of it. Final scene for your video's close. Camera pans across the quiet neighborhood. Kids play, sprinklers hiss, a dog barks in the distance. Matt, narrator voiceover. In the end, The loudest thing in that neighborhood wasn't the hammer or the music, it was pride. And when pride finally quieted down, peace had room to speak. Soft fade out. Uplifting acoustic music plays. If you've ever dealt with an HOA power trip or a neighbor who couldn't mind their own business, hit that like button and share your story in the comments.